Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, it's February. My son lives in Toronto. He said, I've never been so cold. Even his dog won't go out. So here we are with the bright sunshine. February is Black History Month. And I, for one, am deeply grateful for the rich contribution that African Americans have made to our collective good. Deeper, richer, more soulful. Better in every way, scientifically. In every endeavor of American life, African Americans have been involved. They haven't always gotten the credit for it. But I think each one of us ought to take some time every day and research a little bit, because we've been richly blessed by our people of color. This is also Love Month.
Yes.
Yeah, so this month, all month, the theme is, what's love got to do with it, got to do with it? I could do Tina, but not today. I can do those moves. What does love have to do with anything? Everything, yes? What's it got to do with money? In this teaching, we're not afraid to say money. We're not going to use all kinds of euphemisms for it, and we do occasionally because it is a broader concept than just the stuff. But we're not afraid to say money is good. Say it out loud.
Money is good.
Yeah, because you can do things with it. and in this culture, you got to have it, right, for the most part. All right, so let's clear up an old idea right away. The love of money is not the root of all evil. The root of all evil is a belief in lack. And a belief in lack is what causes problems all over the world, including war, crime, violence of all kinds. So love and money has a huge connection. And I'm going to start this way. There is a creative energy flowing all the time. The creative process is always going on. And it supplies itself with whatever is necessary to produce that which it is given to do. What is it given to do? Ideas. By whom? Us. A field of consciousness, and we are the vehicles for that consciousness to pass into form and experience. So we are either in sync with that flow, and that's what prosperity is to be in sync with the flow that's trying to happen, that's always moving, or we're blocking it. And we block it, as it were, individually. It's still moving, but we're manifesting the little bit that we can believe in. We block it with a belief in lack. There's not enough to go around. How many of you have ever thought that? We all have at some point in our life about something. There's not enough love to go around. There's not enough money to go around. There's not enough jobs to go around. There's not enough peace to go, right? People do that all the time. There's plenty of everything for everybody. It's a matter of how it is distributed and how it happens through us. So think about how love frees people. There's an old saying, love binds things together but also frees them at the same time to be themselves. That's unconditional love. So a kindergarten teacher once told me that she could recognize the loved children on the first day of school, as opposed to the neglected ones, because the loved children were eager to participate. They were eager to get in the mix and play and learn and do things. Now, a shy child might appear to be neglected, but no, they're just a little bit reticent. My son was very shy as a little boy. When he was in kindergarten, all the kids, they were riding bikes and trikes and all these things around the yard, and he would stand in the middle and direct the traffic. That's where he was comfortable, right? Love is the energy that manifests in human beings as a sense of self-identity. And that's a big one.
Absolutely.
Who do you love? We have to start with ourselves, right? This is a big point in our teaching. And we really emphasize it all the time. The great I am is Spirit God in us, as us, by means of us. Why wouldn't we love that self? Of course we would, right? If you love God, you love yourself. So love is associated with praise. Nothing grows or becomes fully expressed without some praise. My mother used to go out and talk to her flowers. She had the best garden in town. she really would get down on eye level with them and say, now, come on, honey, you can do better than this. Let's grow. And by God, I'll tell you a funny story about that. My ex-husband and I moved into a rental house, and it was a lovely old place with hardwood floors and stuff, but there was this great big plant. And it was one of those, I wish I knew the name of it, but long, skinny fronds that are bright green. Well, this one was bright brown. It was just dead for all purpose. I had just read this book called The Secret Life of Plants, which I encourage you to read. And so I wasn't in this teaching yet at all, but I knew my mother talked it. So I went over to this plant, and I said, looky here. If you don't turn green real quickly, I'm going to throw you in the trash. Because I had read this book that said plants respond to human emotions and human energy, or any energy. The next day, it was bright green. I'm kidding you not. I'm not kidding. People say, that can't happen. It's a miracle. No, it happened. It knew exactly what to do to stay alive. And it did it. That's how life is. It is an immediate response to the highest idea. All the time. That's what the creative process does. Is it picks up the highest idea, the idea of wholeness, prosperity, love, joy, and moves it into some experience, some form, exclusively for you and exclusively for me. That's why we have different experiences, because we have a different consciousness about the idea we want to experience. We have a different sense of it and a different self-identity. So today we want to give some real thought about what we're praising. What's the opposite of praising? It's ugly, isn't it? Condemnation. They don't, they never, might be factually correct that they don't, they never, but it won't get you anywhere, right? It won't get us what we want. So praise can be gratitude. And gratitude is a delight in something and welcoming more of it, whatever it is. So let's shift from wanting more money in our life to welcoming an increase in our personal experience with it, an increase of prosperity. Try saying that out loud if you feel like it. I welcome an increase of prosperity.
I welcome an increase of prosperity.
Doesn't that feel different than saying, I wish I had more money? I need more money. I want more. No, I welcome an increase. And say money if you want to. I welcome more money in my life. And I know it comes through me by means of spiritual consciousness, which means for the highest good of everyone involved. It comes to me through opportunities, through benefits, through gifts, through windfalls, but always for the highest good of anyone involved, okay? It's important that we keep that consciousness. So love is an actual energy which opens the floodgates, as it were. Ernest Holmes said, and I quote this all the time, it's a good one to memorize, love is an actual force, it is cohesive, it brings and draws together things which belong together and maintains them in harmony and balance as long as love is present. You all know that with relationships, right? What about a business that you loved and then you don't anymore and you withdraw your love? What happens to the business? Gone, right? It begins to deteriorate, dissolve, lessen. It is not as prosperous, right? So we have to praise. It's like this place, if you're involved in it, you want to see it grow, you have to praise it. That doesn't mean there aren't things we can't do better, of course, always, but praise what is, promote it to people, and participate in it. Yesterday we had a wonderful little workshop. I think there was about 15 people, core group of folks who came, and if you look in the coffee room, you'll see all the ideas up on big Post-it notes that we came up with, that things that we can implement here to increase our community, to broaden our community, and welcome more prosperity. So take a look during the coffee hour. All right, so love as a cohesive force is working at the atomic level and the cosmic level. It's chemical affinity, and it's the power that keeps the planets spinning in their orbits around their suns. It's everywhere present throughout the universe, this power of love, and it acts intelligently. I would encourage you to Google The Miracle of Your Birth. It's an old DVD from PBS, where it shows how a fertilized ovum in the womb begins to build its own body. Pretty pretty amazing stuff when you think about it, that there's some intelligence present that creates its brain. The brain doesn't create the body. The mind created the brain, and it only what belongs together fine. Like the cells that go with livers become liver. They don't go somewhere else. It's so intelligent, and that's love in action. It's really good to look at nature and see these things because it helps us see we're not separate from this beautiful activity of love and intelligence constantly creating more and more out of itself. So chemical affinity, electromagnetism, atomic to the cosmic. Love is the power that keeps everything in right relationship. Okay? Now let's look at what money is. Money is congealed energy. It's useless by itself. It's just paper and metal until you do something with it, right? When I first moved to Canada in 1993 to Alberta, Calgary, I lived in a high-rise, and I was in the elevator one day. I'd only been there a couple weeks. And Canadian money looked like Monopoly money to me. You know, it's pink, and it's blue, and it's a little green. It looks like play money. And I was in the elevator going down, and this power couple came in. This is the 90s, right, with the shoulder pads. And she's talking to like deals, and they're making, and have you got the thing and the papers? And yeah, it's in the briefcase. He opens it up, and this pile of Canadian money spills out all over the floor of the elevator. I had no reaction. It meant nothing to me. All I saw was colored paper. If that had been US dollars, I'd be like, oh, well, let me get some of that. Or can I help you with this? I mean, it had power. It would have had power. It would have meant something to me. I would have gotten a little bit agitated, like, oh my God, that's a lot of money. Canadian money, nothing. So it's the meaning we attach to it. It's what we think we can do with it. That's why we praise it, right? Praise your money. The old-time metaphysicians used to say this all the time. Take your money out of your wallet. Make sure it's in order. The big ones, the smaller. Praise it. Bless it. Say, I love my money. Take good care of it. Be conscious of what you got. It's powerful energy because you can do things with it, right? But if it's just stuck there all wadded up, congealed energy, not going to do you any good. Okay, so it's just paper and metal. Love is energy on the move, so is circulation, all right? It's the very opposite of stagnation or stuckness. Most Americans feel a little bit stuck when it comes to money because we have lost the principle. As a culture, we've forgotten. People actually believe the root of all evil is the love of money. They actually believe that. Money has no power whatsoever, so we got to keep remembering that. It's a belief in lack that causes the trouble. So prosperity is flow, like your breath. In and out. How many times do you breathe a day and you don't even know you're doing it? Unless you get a cold and you're all stuffed up, then breath becomes pretty important, right? But before that, you don't even know you're doing it. It just happens all by itself. It's part of the creative process. That is the creative process. It's our breath, in and out, in and out. Heartbeat, beat and rest, beat and rest, beat and rest. It has to do both. That's circulation, okay? So there's a correlation between that and the consciousness of love, which produces wealth. Wealth is a word that comes from an old one called wholth. Well, a consciousness of wholeness produces wealth. One of my teachers, Reverend Fritz Hermans, who was a practitioner and a minister, but he was famous for being a practitioner. He used to say, without a consciousness of wholeness, you cannot have wealth. You have a consciousness of some good, some bad, some sick, some well, a consciousness all the time of polar opposites. We want to focus on the wholeness, the infinite possibility of wealth. Okay, so love releases. It doesn't grasp. It doesn't try to possess. You all know that one. That's a lesson we all learn in relationships. As soon as you start glomming onto someone, they're going like, get me out of here, right? Because love frees. It takes maturity to be in a relationship and let someone be who they really are, okay? So think about the feelings you have around spending money or giving to a place like this. Are there conditions on it? This is serious. How freely can we give with no conditions on it? Like, Well, I won't go there because that's too negative. Do you ever feel depleted when you spend money? When you pay your bills, you realize, I know many of you do because you've been in this teaching a long time, but it's kind of a new idea sometimes for the younger folks. When you pay an electric bill, you are doing your part. They have given you the power, they've given you the energy, and they've given you credit. And so now you're returning, you're doing your part. And if you don't do your part, you're out of circulation. So it's the attitude we have. We used to have a little stamp we put on all of our checks. Nowadays we pay online a lot. But when we used to send checks out, I'd put a little stamp on mine that said, "Together we prosper." Or "Thank you for your service," because it's a dance. And we have to participate in the dance of prosperity. So giving and receiving are the same thing in that they are two poles of the circle of prosperity. You cannot truly prosper if you're not releasing energy through the energy of love. If you're not releasing money with love, you can't truly prosper. Now, if anyone is thinking, look, I know a lot of rich people who aren't very loving, we're not talking about amassing paper and metal. We're talking about prosperity, which is flow, which is movement, where you're not worried about it. It comes from many places, and you're surprised and delighted, and you have opportunity after opportunity to generate more good in your life. We're not talking about investments. You can make money doing investments. That's all fine. This is a spiritual way to generate an increase in money in our life. It is how we are perceiving what we're dealing with. Okay, so Theodore Roosevelt said, "Do what you can with what you have right where you are." In other words, prosper now by giving more, circulating more, or at least being conscious when you are spending, paying bills, or circulating or supporting, that you are part of something larger and that you are supporting it by participating in it, and therefore you are actually in the center of it. We talked about that yesterday, how participation versus volunteering. Participation puts us right in the center of actually making the vision happen, rather than giving them something so they can make the vision happen. That doesn't work, right? Us and them doesn't work on any level. Okay, so remember, God doesn't deal in miracles. We don't need miracles. We need better ideas. So we don't need a miracle. God works with universal law. That's why you don't need a miracle. You don't need a miracle when you put a rose bulb in the garden. It's going to give you roses. It's like, wow, how'd that happen? We never question it, right? It's a law. It's the same thing with the seeds of ideas we plant in the subjective soil of our mind. And the condition of that soil, or what's the beliefs, determines our individual experience of that idea. Okay? This is what we talk about in class. I wish you'd all take classes. It makes such a difference. So we build a consciousness of wholeness with praise, participation, what we promote to be good, true, and beautiful. And Eric Butterworth, who wrote this wonderful book, Spiritual Economics, which we'll do a class in someday, in speaking about gratitude, he said, remember, gratitude is not a reactionary emotion. It's a causative energy. So being grateful, we're not grateful because something was given to us or we have it. We're grateful because we know it causes things to circulate in our midst. Gratitude is a causative energy the same way love is. Does that make sense? Yes. Yeah, because gratitude means it's already so. So in this teaching, we learn to be grateful before the form even appears because we know it's coming through us. Something wonderful is always trying to happen by means of you and me, always trying to happen. We learn to think to allow it to happen, okay? So the secret in this teaching is to be grateful even before the desire has taken form. And you see, everything happens first in the invisible realm. Every single thing that you can see was an idea first. That tree was a seed. The oak trees were acorns. Everything was invisible, and then it became something. That's the way all of life works. Our part in giving it an idea birth is done in the realm of the invisible. We do it with images, ideas, thoughts, feelings, emotions, and What have we been saying for 2 weeks? The two words that are the most important words in any language. I am. What we add onto that is a demand we're making into the law. I am. Say it out loud if you feel like it. I am prospering beyond my wildest dreams. I am prospering beyond my wildest dreams. I love giving. I always have more to give. I never run out of anything worth anything. And you don't, right? You can't run out of anything that you love. You can't. Love brings together everything that belongs together and maintains them together in harmony and balance. All right, so nothing becomes something without first being an idea. Butterworth advises us to confer prosperity on everything and everyone in our life. We do that by blessing things. You know, to bless means to prosper, right? So he said, bless your home, bless your car, bless your dog, or your cat. Your cat won't return the favor, but your neighbor. I love cats. Bless your workplace. You know, how many people go to work and start complaining as soon as they hit the door? It's too hot in here. It's too cold in here. The coffee's not ready. I don't like her. Do you like her? No, I don't like her. He's okay. This is too hard. You didn't give us enough time. Constant complaining. I mean, I hear it all the time. Constant complaining from adult people, not sixth graders, people like us. And you know what they're saying? There's not enough to go around. Yeah, that has to be cleaned up. We got to get over that one. So, blessing means to prosper. Bless your church, bless your minister, bless your practitioners, bless each other. And be grateful that you have chosen to learn more about how you can make life better for yourself and everyone else. Be grateful for your intelligence that led you to this point where you're absolutely open and receptive to these bigger ideas. Bless yourself as you look in the mirror. Say, damn, I'm good looking. And you know, when you have troubles, bless your eyesight. I have a friend who has been going through years and years and years of cataracts, and she didn't even know she had them. But she went through a period with no health insurance, and you know, when you're stuck like that, she couldn't see anything. She kept getting extensions on her driver's license because she couldn't pass the test. She finally got health insurance. She went to doctors who made it worse. They wouldn't do it because she had glaucoma, and they gave her these eye drops that made her so sick she couldn't function. So I said, wait a minute. So we started treating about perfect vision. I see clearly who I am, a spiritual being in this wonderful human experience with everything necessary to see my way through with joy and gratitude. We kept working like that. She found this doctor who is like the best in the world, who has developed a whole new operation for dealing with this sort of thing. She's already had one eye done last week. She says, oh, God, I can see. I said, I know you. And she said, it's so bright. I said, yeah, you've been walking around in the dark, honey. So bless that which seems to need improvement. Don't just say, heal me. Just, I have perfect vision. My heart functions perfectly. It's in tune with the universal energy of rest and activity. Rest. Whatever it is, see it as perfect now. Love it, love it, love it, and you'll see results. It happens every time. So I'm going to ask you to say this out loud if you feel like it. I love and praise my own prosperity. My own prosperity. I welcome the increase. Spirit is trying to bring in. I discover more and more of my life to praise. I am a prospering being. I am full of gratitude. I am a love machine. All right, so it is. So let's do that a little deeper. Let's go in. I like that. See, that's the heartbeat. Nothing like a walking bass to put you in the mood for prayer. Right? There's one life, one mind. One beautiful being everywhere present all the time, all of it, all at once. It's right where we are, all the time. Coming through us, speaking through us, loving itself as us in this moment. And so today we take this feeling of being in sync with something beyond, something else, something greater than anything we see in the world. We're in harmony with it. We're in sync with it. It loves us. We love it. It is functioning as us. We are the way in. I love my life. You might want to say that out loud. I love who I am. I love my money. I love circulating it. You see, by this word, we are making a command, a demand on the law of mind that is always responsive in the now moment, immediately, always, right now. It never hesitates. It never withholds. It never withdraws. It only does one thing. It says, yes, my beloved, in whom I am well pleased. Give me more to do, and I will pour you out a blessing such as you have never known. All right, so this morning we just accept in the spirit of jazz, in the spirit of our soul, in the spirit of the rhythm of life, that we are one with it, part of it, in sync with it, harmonizing with it, and that is proved through us daily by an increase in our love, our praise, our gratitude, our joy, and most of all, our prosperity. And so with complete freedom to be who we are, we let it all be, beginning now, in ways that surprise us, delight us, amaze us, and convince us of the presence of God right here, right now. And so it is.